let's talk Brock Purdy. I guess Brock Purdy's not going to win the MVP. In hindsight, we got way ahead of ourselves. He needed to get past the Ravens. He didn't. And it's like he could have played well and lost, but that's not what he did either. He was awful. He threw 4 picks plus 2 other passes that frankly should have gotten picked. Those 2 interceptions that were dropped were worse than some of his picks because some of the picks were tipped. They weren't necessarily like the worst decisions, although they weren't great plays. 4 picks, 2 drop picks, a stinger, and a benching. He was standing on the sideline with his helmet on, and Kyle Shanahan said, no, thank you. And after the game, he was like, well, we were protecting Brock. Yeah, you were protecting Brock. He was in the game midway through the 4th quarter down 21, and then you take him out because you don't want to get hurt after he got hurt. So no MVP for Brock Purdy. And I think finally it's time to look at Brock through a sober lens. We need to stop talking about Brock like he's a top 5 quarterback in the league or he's actually an MVP. Like that's not what he is. He's a good quarterback who had a very bad day. But does the supporting cast elevate him? Absolutely. Does Kyle Shanahan elevate him? Not today, but most of the time. Let's not forget that. Jimmy Garoppolo's quarterback rating routinely was over 100 on this team, and he won most of his games. He's trash. Brock Purdy is significantly better than Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's not a top 5 quarterback in the league. Yes, the Niners would rather have Lamar Jackson than Brock Purdy. Yes. You know why? Because Lamar Jackson is better than Brock Purdy. You know who else would rather have Lamar Jackson than Brock Purdy? Every team in the league. Every team. That's why Lamar's going to win the MVP this year. So before the Niners give Brock Purdy $50 million a year, $60 million a year, they should watch this game again. Because it's rare for the 49ers to face a team that can actually match up with their supporting cast. But this is one of those teams. And when it's an even playing field, then the quarterback makes the difference. And today, Brock did make the difference with his turnovers. While Lamar Jackson made the difference with a turnover-free, phenomenal game. So I guess when Cam Newton was talking about game managers and game changers, he was talking about the difference between Brock Purdy and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a game changer. So is he worth the $50 million a year they're paying him? Yeah. Brock Purdy is a game manager. And today, for whatever reason, he tried to be the hero. Kyle Shanahan tried to make him the hero. They put the game in his hands and said, go be a game changer. And he said, okay, I got this. Let me show you how I can change this game. And he turned it over 4 times. Could have been 6. Really interested to see how Kyle Shanahan calls plays going forward for Brock. Is there still trust there? Is there still confidence there? I want to see how Brock plays going forward. What kind of confidence does he have left? Because this wasn't just a bad performance. It was probably like the worst performance by a quarterback in the NFL this week. It makes you look at Brock differently because he's only played well in the NFL. He's like the best start to a career ever. And then he reminds you that he has one of these in him. A real stinker. He did this routinely in training camp. I was wondering when it would pop back up. Well, when they face really good teams. And why was it an issue in training camp? Because he was going against the Niners defense, which is about as good as the Ravens defense. Okay, so we faced the Ravens defense today. Freaking disaster. So, sorry. It's a little early to crown Brock Purdy, man. When he goes against really good defenses that are in the AFC, it's an adventure. He's going to start next week, even though I think he got benched in this game. But his leash all of a sudden seems very short. He does this again next week, he's getting benched. And they'll say he's got a stinger or something. Giovanni Miller says, be honest, do you think we will still make us? We got you, Giovanni. Hold on. Official BNA Music 88 says Cam and Nick Wright's cooking up right now. You already know. They're watching me, though. Vance says, man, come on. He can't be superhuman every game. This was bound to happen. Everyone has bad games. Philly was a big game, and so was Dallas. Don't do that, Grant. Don't tell me what to do, Vance. I just did it. I'm talking about real teams in the AFC, man. Don't give me that Philly, Dallas, humpy, bumpy NFC crap. And don't tell me that everyone has bad games, man. Not everyone throws 4 picks and no touchdowns and 2 other picks, passes that should be picks. This was a horrendous game that you can't forget. Vance. Appreciate you, Super Chat, man. Nathan Flores says, Niners got humbled today. Bad on both sides. Regroup and move on to the next one. Need to run the ball more and use Mason more. Damn right. Leroy says, Grant, I appreciate your takes, man. I appreciate yours too, Leroy. Matt McEwen, friend of the show, says, can we stop scapegoating our defense? Offense needs blame. I think everyone needs blame. You let Lamar Jackson run around like that outside the pocket, you deserve blame. Nick Bosa, Steve Wilkes. But no, the offense deserves most of the blame for sure. Eric Frere, that means brother in French. Remember, for 3 months. Merci, that's French too. Bob Victor says, do you think all this MVP talk messed with Purdy's head? Or Kyle's, or both? Wave 9 says, you get on the field and stop Lamar twice in 18 seconds. Okay, I can do it. I ran a 4.5 in 2006. Sean, did you know that? Sean says, Ravens took away Brock's third-level throws. It's his bread and butter, which in turn forced him to look elsewhere while getting pressured and force early throws, interceptions. What's the third-level throw? I'd like to know. I'm not disputing it. Drunken Ninja, that sounds dangerous, says Casey lost to LV today. Good teams lose. At the end of the day, this game won't matter if the Niners win out. All the crying is weak. Sack up, Niner fans. Is Casey a good team? You're right, though. This game won't matter if the Niners win out and have a better game plan the next time they face the Ravens if they get to the Ravens. But the Niners did not play like a team that's going to the Super Bowl in this game. Tony G says Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch did not deserve that contract extension. York loves mediocrity. Faithful can't afford to wait until 2027. Yikes. King Geo says, I think Kyle left his playbook closed when we play them later down the line. Just watch. We're winning the Super Bowl this year. I don't dispute it. I still come away from this feel like the Niners are better than the Ravens. Kyle just had a ridiculous game plan, and he won't have that game plan next. I'm with you on that. I can definitely see myself picking the Niners to beat the Ravens if they face each other again in the Super Bowl, but then I'd have to get there. Really real says Ike, 1 target, 1 in the third quarter. Verona Pereira says people told me Brock is a better passer than Lamar. Yeah. Nope.